Hello and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel. And in this one we have Diana, because she has been atop the meta since Riot rebuffed her again. And, you know, she's not really seeing the best of days and stats at the beginning of this new League of Legends 2.0 meta. However, her win rate has stabilized nicely. It's around that 50% marker again, still very popular, still giga strong, and that's because people are figuring out how to play her in a different way. And this build is not new. Alright, it is a new meta build because it allows her to thrive in the meta. Let me just move that down. But it isn't a new build because I have covered it myself on my main channel. I've spoken about it a few times now, saying if you want Sunfire, Nash's Tooth as a 2-item combo, it is absolutely disgusting. But then you slap in that Demonic's Embrace, and all of a sudden you can't die. You have huge amounts of tenacity, and obviously you're burning people alive with the Balmy Cinder Immolate passive. So next patch, we are also getting a buff to the Sunfire, plus 100 HP to all tank itemization because tanks are struggling as a class, okay? Yes, everyone else is tanky, but the goal is for tanks to be way tankier than everybody else. And so they're giving some HP back to the tanks, and because Demonic's Embrace converts HP to AP, well then, this build's gonna be even stronger. Now, you can still go your Rocket Belt build. I do advise Nash's Tooth for, you know, fights over time and making sure that you can sustain yourself well. We do here have a leash from the Yone, the other brothers in the mid lane, Magi Felix on the other side. Mid lane is not really a factor in this game, to be honest with you. Runes, as you would have seen, no booties, going for the Cosmic and Futures Market. Futures Market and Cosmic. I went the wrong way in my mind. Drag it out, let the burn, do its business, get an auto attack if you miscalculate, but, you know, I mean, at this point, with the jungle changes being what they are, you should easily be able to navigate those clears. And we are against a Talon. Now, a Talon is one of those champions that's also finding success because he is diseased, and he always does. And you have to be aware of this when you're full clearing jungler, that if you're going to full clear and look for the bottom lane action, he could easily go red Raptors into Gromp and then sort of look to do these kinds of things if he has Prior. But Yasubi has Prior on the mid lane, there we go. We have here Fistings on the top lane, Snippy activation, and Gwen dies. But the Yone also, bad KDA. Draven, bad KDA. Yasuo, just not involved. Support, So this really is a great example of how this build can allow you to dominate in the meta. Yasuo uses his top Prior to understand that, hey, that's what Talon's going to want to do, let me cut him off. And honestly, for the jungler and the Talon in this situation, we can swap it over. That's just horrible. You know, if you can't gank that lane, as it should be, if you can't gank that lane and then you kind of think about maybe trying something else and the enemy mid laner moves down, you just have to fall back and reverse clear. That is just the way it is. Now, you could look to go straight for the crab here if you have Smite, which I think in this case is something you should do, which he's done. And then, of course, the Dan is a little bit late here. Could be definitely a little bit faster, so not the most optimized clear, but still pretty solid. And these things don't really matter too much with the first scuttle, but we are able to use a little bit of that bot Prior created from the mid lane roam to chunk him out and force him up. But at this stage, you can kind of guess that the Parkour Lord is going to hibbity-hobbity over to this side. So we just, oh, there we go. We have visual confirm. So we just go back to base. Typical stuff. And now, you see, the Magi is very, very good in builds like this because we do want scaling raw AD itemization, but we also want to get quite, you know, you want to get far enough ahead that the HP bonus you have and the magic and the magic resist and the armor bonus you have per level really get activated along with your itemization. Because we will go for the Balmy Cinder first. This will allow us to full clear, to make sure we're doing damage to the AoE camps, making sure we can actually take those fights and out-sustain them. But after that Balmy Cinder, you want to flex into the Nash's Tooth for that AP and attack speed. That item is my favorite in the game. As you all know, I've run Nash's Tooth in literally every champion I play. And here, of course, we know that the Talon would have done this clear, all right, and taken this because he gets out. So he will have this available and this available. He could look, instead of going back to base, to stay here and go top lane. So the Yone should really think about that. And of course, the Diana goes from Gromp to Wolves and then cuts up again knowing that this is going to be the case. We chuck out a bit of an E there, see if we can get onto the Gwen, but Gwen is immune. And of course, keeps us spacing. Here we go. Good angle of approach. Now, the tower dives have taken a hit. Okay, Yasuo overcommits a little bit. Talon yeets in with his ability. We can sort of misdirect here, chuck a Q just to keep us away. No walls to hop this time. And of course, he has no flash. So just fully stack your Conqueror, keep going, make sure you use that E appropriately. and chuck another Q at the Gwen, and it's fine, we can push this wave. So that's all you're looking to do. And if you're looking for a bit more of a action-based Diana game plan, please see the main channel. Oh, we can still actually go for this. We don't have our E straight up, but we do hold as long as possible so we can use our W, but you know what? I will take that W literally in that sense. So the tower dives I was talking about, they've gotten weaker because obviously they increased turret damage, and they're going to decrease it again on the outer towers and towers. I was going to say turrets and towers. So I'm not really a huge fan of that because I had a beautiful, I've been playing a lot of my Kaiser jungle, as most of you know. I also play that since season 8. And I had a Jax top lane, and we went for this really tricky dive, 2v1, level 3, and he gets out with like 2-3 HP, and we had to play it perfectly, and it was really, really satisfying to get away with it. You know, I don't think they really should make tower diving easy. It should be a high skill cap thing, and it's been way too easy for way too long. So hopefully they can, you know, go back on that. But as I was saying, if you're looking for a more a different kind of Diana jungle game, but still showing how strong she can be in this meta with a more prototypical build, going proto belt, the main channel just has a video release. So obviously we lose our Raptors, Talon goes bot lane. You could look to keep sequencing. You can basically say, listen, wait, mid lane, something's happening. Yasuo. That wind wall was beautiful. An absolute beaut. So we obviously lose a little bit of Raptors here, and Talon goes to the bottom lane. And what we then do is we cut through for the counter jungling. You can also obviously shadow mid lane in case he comes back up, and then you can just go and take this and get out. You could look to stay for the red, but because you have nothing else on the map and we don't really know where he is he doing dragon and so on, it's better just to take the easy chicken nuggies, take the beautiful full experience crab, 98 gold by the way. You know, it's already 7 minutes, hugely valuable. So make sure you keep taking those beautiful RNG crabs. And we look to go top lane, but it's warded, so we can fall back down. And we can go to the blue. This is a good juicy ward. You know, if they don't check this, and when I play top lane, I always ward this and check it, because I know if they have a ward there, it's just basically signing, you know, as the Gwen, you'd be dead 100 times, so it's good to make sure you keep this clear. So we fall back to the blue and the Zagromp, right? And then we can have a look, okay? You can reflex here as well. What's going on top lane? You use your F keys, you click around, you see, okay, there's some trades. And again, your top laner most likely is going to die as my voice crackles and breaks. And rotating up here, using your ult, making sure you kill the Gwen is huge. Now Talon shows up after doing his red and Krugs, and he can't do anything. And he's down a level. So the fact of the matter is, even with Balmy Cinder, as you're seeing here, and the Dark Seal, which I don't really talk about, I was kind of getting to it, but the Dark Seal helps you in that sense, you know, getting into the Magi, and obviously giving you decent amount of HP early. You know, that plus the Ruby Crystal and Balmy Cinder is more than enough. And of course, because we've done that, we can go ahead and think about this, but because it is a Talon and the Gwen will be back top lane before the Yasuo, we're not actually going to do that. And obviously the fact that it's an Azir, he can rotate very, very quickly. I mean, usually top lane's the island, but in this game, mid lane is the island. I mean, that's typically the case with the bird. I've always wanted to, I loved Azir since his release. Most of you know I've released a video 2018 called about mechanics, and I featured a challenger Azir. I used to do more of those off-roll videos before, but over time they just don't do as well, but I've always loved Azir. Top lane. When you complain you have no impact, it's because you suck at macro. I was trying to find a nice way to say that, but honestly that's just the truth. This is just the reality of it. If you play top lane secondary and you play jungle because you're here, you know full well that having some macro pressure is what makes the top lane gap, you know, every single game. Right. Jinx by herself in the bottom lane. We have now fully sequenced. We saw the Ranata going up. We can say, yo, what up? We can hit our Q. We go for the E. We'll have a reset as well. We have an ult if we need it, but we are not going to. And because we're already building into that attack speed now, our auto attacks are going to be highly efficient at doing DPS over time, which is obviously what you want as a conqueror and damage over time fighter. And obviously with the Yasuo, you know, the engages are going to be really nice. You want to be able to survive. And what's funny is that on the main channel video that I just released, there was also a Yasuo on the Diana's team, and she went in a few times. And not to spoil it too much, but it cost them the game in the end because she just went in, Yasuo went in, and they just could not survive and did not do enough damage to kill people. Whereas with this build, all of those things are solved. Absolutely all of those things are solved. So, back to base, we see here the Talon. This is a good ward if you're pushing bot lane. Okay, of course I play I mean, I play every role except for really ADC, but I play ADCs in unconventional positions. You know, this ward is really, really good when you're pushing. I always like to think like a jungler or about the jungler when I'm in lane, which is why if you're a jungler and you understand lane, it makes you such a better player. Really, really, really does. If you're bored of jungle or you're struggling in general, you know, make a Smurf account, try get to your peak rank. Again, great gank. You know, try get to your peak rank from the lane of position, whatever lane that might be, because you'll start to think very differently. See how the Diana thinks in terms of, you know, doing Gromp walls going back, right? In terms of doing blue Gromp and then cutting in for the gank. She's thinking about the lane matchup, thinking about how they're fighting, and thinking about where the enemy jungler is at the same time. And you can only do that if you understand both roles. So Talon goes and cleans up on the Yone, and we shall do a Herald. Meanwhile, Draven, Jinx, Renata Berserk, Karma, good champion. Ah, wait, hold up, we got the Herald. Yes, we do, and now we can 1v1 the jungler. You will die, sir. There you go. So if you were worried, can I kill a Talon with Sunfire? And no, actually, she didn't even go the Nash's Tooth. So that's interesting, right? Normally you would actually go Bombies into Nash's, but you can, in theory, just rush straight up the Sunfire. I prefer going Nash's first because I enjoy snowballing with the damage component and then just becoming unkillable because I've snowballed it so well they can't kill me. But actually, that's true. I looked at a bunch of replays, so I do apologize for misleading you about this particular game. But there you go. Can finish it first. And you can one-shot, not one-shot, but, you know, kill the enemy jungler 1v1. And that's something you really, really want to be able to do. At some point, when you're fed, now we have Vanua as the Gwen, actually, so that makes a lot more sense about this game. High-ranked game. What was I saying? I just started thinking about German things. Yeah, so you want to make sure that when you have any kind of lead as a jungler, you want to definitely beat the enemy jungler 1v1. It has to happen at some point. Doesn't matter what the hell you're playing. Whatever off-meta nonsense you are playing, if you cannot handle your business 1v1 over an objective at crucial moments, then it becomes quite difficult to justify the pick, in my opinion. Jinx, where are you going? That Q was interesting, but you know what? We'll count it. And good night. So, a little bit of roaming there. I mean, look at this now. 0-1-0 Yasuo. 1-4-3 Yone. We have a 1-3-2 Draven. And the only one that's really just taking control of business is the Diana now. Obviously, with this lead, seeing the Talon, you know, go top lane and so on earlier, means we go counter jungling after that kill. We have the Prio now. All right, with 2 levels up. Here's Renata showing up. Are you sure you want to take that? I don't think you do, Miss Glass. And then here's the Talon again, thinking, well, I'll take this and this. But he walks over a ward, and that's why these wards are so good. Because what happens now? He can still go for it, obviously. But it becomes more and more risky for him to go for it when he knows he's been spotted and they know where he's going, you see? So he could still do it, but the risk now is tenfold. And that's why I love those wards when they walk over them. He's going to go for it now because he sees 2 bot lane, this and this, and he knows Diana's resetting. So at this stage, it is free for him, given the information. But if the bot lane were off the map now it becomes a bit more risky. She's looking forward. If only it was a Hextep map, there we go. Then we could actually take care of that business. Yeah, great champion that. Don't you love the E? Don't you love the E? But we push him out anyway. We'll clear the vision off. That's absolutely fine. Vanua goes on to the Yone. Yone says, my time is now. And then the Diana knows that the Talon's going to show up again and we need to take the turret. So that was a beautiful knockback and disengage from the E. And he dies once more. And here we go. You see? 10 stacks. Building into the Nashor's. Dragon spawning. We close to a level. No, we can clear that. So you could just sequence down. I don't think there's any rush in this particular situation. You don't really need to. I know we talk a lot about like kind of just yeeting down for the dragon and then pushing up. I think I do that when I'm a low econ jungler, but if I'm a high econ jungler and there's no stress because the map is under our control, it's fine doing wolves, raptors, cutting in to do it. You'll get the RNG crab. Now you can push up to this and this again because you have that control. It works out seamlessly when you make the right plays over and over and over again. Really, it does. It's true. I know what I'm talking about. I have 2 YouTube channels. And when you make the right plays, you tend to win. It's beautiful advice. Jinx, on the other hand, oh no. She gets hit by the Q knockup. That's the only good thing that Yasuo has done. Actually, I'm not going to lie to you. The good thing that he has done is that he only died 1 time. And I think we can all agree that deserves Her Majesty's clap. Because normally at this point, he would be 0-8 if he was a gold Yasuo. Scan in their jungle, deny their vision, make them sad. Yeah, come on, let's tinker with that. There we go. What do they see now? Okay, good vision from the red team because it's a high elo game. And we have here Yone versus Gwen pushing up. level up. The level 11 versus level 10 fights are crucial, by the way, if you have your ults. Really look for those advantages, you know, 6 versus 5, 11 versus 10. Whenever they don't have rank 1, 2, or 3 of ultimate, and you do have a +1 in that sense, make sure you go for them. I mean, look at this. It's disgusting at this stage. 745, 750 doesn't seem like a lot of damage, but let's have a look by the end of the game. As your bottom line, reset the mental, reset back to base. Out of base we leave. You see, when you're fed as a jungler, and people ask us a lot, what do I do to stop my team taking my camps? Well, firstly, if you're giga fed, no one has an issue with you taking all your camps, you know? It's when you're a bit further behind that it creates a bit of an issue. So make sure you have a good lead and play the early game perfectly, and typically they won't take your camps, but if you're sequencing them well, then they're not up for your team to take. So here, I just want to pause very briefly. Sorry to cockblock you, but I talk a lot about this in coaching. People in the mid game will go here, Wolves, Grom, or here, Raptors, Krugs, passing from the mid lane outward. They fan outward in the mid game when they farm. That means you're going to be in a position where you cannot rotate to happenings like this when your team's looking to push the map into their base. So the best thing for you to do is always go outside in, because I want to end up in the mid lane and rotate to the fight. If I want to go for red side, Krugs, Raptors, so I can rotate to the mid lane very quickly, I'm pathing in that direction, so it's easy for me to take stuff and end up in the fight. Whereas if you go inward, inside out, well, you're pathing in the opposite direction. Now you've got to retrace your steps, spaghetti path, and you're not going to get there in time. And in low elo, mid elos, and diamond, that's where people really fail. So they engage onto the Raven, and we just Grump, Wolves, see the fight, go to the mid lane. She has no flash because we just burnt it, so we kill her. And the damage is still absolutely disgusting on Diana. The damage hasn't gone away when she has a lead. And if you're 3 levels up, you will still do a lot of damage. Raven does things! Magic Felix says, I want to do things. We get disengaged, but we are Diana with a Sunfire and a Nash's too. So look at this, here you go. This is a good example of the build survivability. Use escape on the Wolves. Just keep your spacing, hit your Qs. Dodge the Gwen ults as much as you can. You have 2 level leads. Yone goes in, is able to schnack a kill, and you just keep your distance, keep chucking. Don't take the fights if you don't think you can kill them. You know, in Gwen's case, it's kind of tough, but here we go, over the wall. Disrespectful pathing by Vanua. That very disrespectful pathing. We know that Diana can do that, and she's there. Even if she wasn't a tank, she could do that. And now we can go ahead and take the Grump. So, pushing the map, exquisite control this game. Really a beautiful flowing game, by the way. If you are this jungler and you're playing like this, you know, all the good fundamentals as a farming jungler and in jungles in general, you're gonna have no issue climbing to whatever rank you want. We walked over control, let's clear that. Hopefully the support will. And now we're just gonna be sequencing. You're sequencing and you're looking. Okay, you're looking. We're farming and we're looking. Okay, we need to deal with this as well. We're just looking. See, now we're pathing outward from the mid lane, so it does become more risky, obviously, but just keep your eyes on it. Watch what your team are doing, and don't overcommit to one side or the other where they can get objectives, you know? And in this stage, because they might be really focused on that dragon and the bounty that it shall give them, you can always look to do an early Baron. And early bird gets the worm is, in fact, a challenge, so I'm helping you get challenges as well. It's true. I am doing that as well. I'm just generous like that. So Yasuo's pushing this. We see 3 mid kiting down for this. You see 2 going down for the Yone. And the jungler's down there as well. So you just start doing this. Let's observe how it works. It works good. There you go. Good to gaming. Very nice. The Sunfire is beautiful. I can't wait for the extra 100 AP. We'll flex now from this into the Demonics, all right? And then you can go Zhonya's, you can go tank atomization like Abyssal Mask next patch, also getting buffed. There's a few things you can do. Spirit Visage, if you have a Yuumi, Soraka, and of course with your shielding, or maybe a Lulu. So you can go full tank if you like, but you can still just keep going with the AP and use that extra tenacity that you get here, right? And plus the HP to just survive and thrive while you're diving. And I don't know, what more do you want from a build and a champion? She really still farms a lot faster than anyone else. Yo, Parkour, what's up? Again, pulled back in, you see that? Pulling him in from the E. There's a movie quotation we could go with. You know, they pull me back in, but I'm not gonna do it because I am testing to see if you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, it's fine. I just think less of you, but it's fine. Right, Journey on the bottom lane. No Baron buff for that homie. This one does have the Baron buff. Let's have a look here. 375, 111, 472, 325. I mean, Your support's done a solid job, but you love them 1-2. There's no... Sorry, I hit the mic. No question who's carrying the game. You know, absolutely no question who's carrying the game. Now, obviously, Draven's resetting. Yone is pushing that up a little bit. We can farm while our ADC's in base, and you can do a full sequence Turbo Giga fast. Take this crap 229 cash monies. Now we push up. Talon looking to go on the Yasuo. You can collapse on this, or you can collapse on this, but you have to be wary. If you show top lane, they're going to go all in on your team. So we keep the Talon from getting in. We're going to go all in here, make sure he dies. Burn him down. Oh, we didn't get him. But your Draven does things. All right, so we're flanking from the back line. Zia knocks back the Draven into, well, the tower base. Hey, they fixed it. Look, you can no longer see through the map now. When did that get fixed? Ah, no, wait. There you go. They fixed the mid-lane tower. Or was that because it's an Azia thing? Yeah, it's an Azia thing. Anyway, so, I mean, you definitely want to be there for the fights, obviously. But if you can take out a crucial component so your team can actually win, just give them the best opportunity. Because they do have, the KDAs look like shit, but the gold amount is all good. So you don't overcommit too much here. I mean, Jinx is going to be coming up. We don't really have a wave. Let's take that and get out. We don't give them shutdowns. Let's disengage, please. Run away, Monty Python screeches. Baron buff in. I don't know if the timer's up there on the map underneath. Baron buff will be the next thing we want to focus on, as well as the dragons. They do have 2, but we're not too concerned about Soul. The game's not going to get to that point, so don't worry about total objective focus and positioning. Let's go in on the Azia here. He died. So, you know. Sunfire. Sunfire, Nash's Tooth, Measure, Stacking, Demonics, Embrace, Diana. Will we have one fight with this? I hope we do. Again, we're farming. It does mean you'll be slow to close, but at this stage, your team isn't as fed as you are, and the enemy team is down a huge amount of gold, and your SU team does have good gold amounts. You know, it's not just the KDAs you need to look at, but you also don't want to be overzealous about closing, because they do have a Jinx, they do have an Azia, the Gwen is also extremely good late game. You have to play it intelligently, and you don't want to make a mistake that loses you the game with a stupid engage or something like that. Right, we're sieging in the mid lane. Sidewave pressure bottom, not top. Play that wool, please, thank you. We don't lose this for bounty, but I think we're absolutely fine, yep. Right, they see this, so they start to go in. Here we go, this is it. Boom! And backline there, nicely done, nicely done. Explosion, the ult explosion is so insane. Beautiful, I mean, it's so good to watch, and it feels good as well, you know, because you still damage, and they just cannot kill you. And because you have Nash's Tooth, you just keep autoing, you just keep autoing, you just keep going, you get the QE resets, you keep using your Q. It's unrelenting. It's absolutely unrelenting. And now, obviously, the dragon's going to be spawning. We chase the Azia to his death. Take that. Take the Baron as well. Don't overcommit again. If we have gold for Zhonya's, we can buy it. I know it's nice to sit on your stopwatch, but if you haven't used it, you're not going to need to use it, and you're just going to close the game out. Finish off the Zhonya's and then push to win. That's all you're really looking to do at this stage. You could look for a bit more sidewave pressure, but I'm a little bit worried about the brothers potentially just dying. Control for a trap. Who's going to face check me? Ah. You see, that's the downside of going in. That's the downside of trying to yeet a Diana in that particular situation. Zhonya is well used. You have to kill out of the gates when we respawn, or when the stopwatch finishes. And that should do it. Can we chase down some more kills for the KDA? Yeah. Well then. In the end, 1500 damage, not too much, but already we're getting, you know, plus 25. We got 25 stacks. You can always sell that for whatever the hell item you want, Death Cap or Void. It doesn't really matter. Or tank items. Whatever you want to do, you can do with this build. But essentially, those are the 3 first components you focused on. Either Nash's first or Sunfire. Pick your poison. Hope you enjoyed and learned something. It's a really great way to succeed in this meta. And next patch, it will be getting buffed as well. So please like, share, and comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And don't forget to check out the main channel, coaching on Patreon, coaching VODs on Patreon. And as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial.